make sure GarageBand is recording also. We're going to record this meeting just to make sure that you guys, if someone misses it or if you have any questions, you can go back and listen to the whole meeting because you have time to do that, right? It's a joke, sorry. Okay, so who's been to beach camp before? Who hasn't? I just heard like a ghetto call. That sounds, okay. Okay, so we've got a couple newbies. Most of the information that we're going to cover is in the packet. I just want to hit a couple really important things. This is going to be the shortest beach camp meeting that's ever happened before. Cool? Because most of the information is right there in the packet. I don't need to read for you, but some of you, I just want to hit some highlights. And if you have any questions, then you can ask those to me, because some of you students that are going to serve at Camp Jam have a meeting that starts in 18 minutes. And if you're an adult, you have an hour and 18 minutes to get to that one. This just day is awesome. So full of meetings that we all love to go to. So real quickly, I have to have you remind, I forget this every single year. I have these 3x5 cards, and these 3x5 cards will be filled out by one camper each. That will be your rooming preferences. And so what you'll do, just quick instructions, your name will go up top real big here, and then just go 1, 2, 3, and give me the names of the people you'd like to stay with. If you've already got all of your BFFs in the room, and you know that there's 4 or 5 of you that want to stay together, I should say 3 or 4 of you, because one of those would be a leader, then maybe fill out a card and just say, "We're good." That would help us cut through some of the making sure there's no conflicts. So if there's like 3 or 4 of you that are like, you're ready to go, you're all pointing at each other, you're like, yeah, you, me, you, not you, no, you smell, yeah, just, these will be done at the end of our short, brief meeting. Cool? But Jamie, Cheek, Maddie Blue, you guys, that row, remind me at the end of the meeting. Cool? Counting on you, Jamie. You're kicked out if you forget. Okay, so just for the new people, let me just hit the what to bring real quick. Okay, definitely bring a Bible. Don't come to beach camp and not bring a Bible. It'll be a huge mistake, because that's what we are doing all week. There is just as much free time as there is like service time, and so please bring a Bible, a pen, a journal would be awesome if you want to. So all the clothing needs that you have would be like free time beach attire. So think of swimsuits and things like that. All of the what not to bring and what kind of, no bikinis. If you bring a bikini, just bring a tank top or something like, just cover yourself. And casual clothing. So think of all the different all you girls will want to get dressed up at service, and I get it. So bring that, bring your, just think of all that kind of stuff. But if you wear an immodest bathing suit, I'm going to get real awkward with you, and I'm going to say, here's a big 3X tee, and it looks like a sleep shirt, and you're welcome because you brought in an immodest bathing suit. No bikinis, please. Any questions about that? Madison, you had your hand raised. Do you have a question? Madison Berryman? Madison, do you have a question? You had your hand raised. You're all good. All right, sweet. She's so in. Personal hygiene items, please. Okay, so there's spending money. Let me just kind of cover money real quick. Your beach camp fee covers everything except for like your meals on the way, your meals coming back. Thursday night, we'll go to a restaurant. One difference in every year before, we've always covered your tip, and that has grown to be extremely expensive. So you get to tip this year, because we paid so much money in tip last year with 120 people. You can imagine. So help us be good stewards of our church's finances, and don't be a jerk and not tip. We're going to go to a restaurant, and typically we find a place that's got good options, and then like cheap options, so $10 to $15 should totally cover you. But please bring money for tip. So that is a difference. If you want, you get a t-shirt with the camp, but there's also CDs, books, and things like that that the speakers and the worship bands, which, by the way, parents, if you do not know who's speaking, Louis Giglio is speaking at our camp this year, which is so good. And like Chris Tomlin and the Passion Band are leading worship. So they're going to have it all right this week at camp. It's pretty much one of the best worship bands in the world at our camp. And so if they get there and they want to buy a CD, there's going to be a camp store and they can buy stuff there. So, but it's not required. None of that is required. Just wanted to let you know. Bring your own snacks, anything you want on the bus ride in the hotel. We just ask that you keep up with your trash. Keep a watch with you. Just a quick reminder on the cell phone rule. You get your students can have their cell phones on the bus ride and all that kind of stuff. We ask them to give them to their leaders all day. There's a 15-minute span of time after the night service where we give all the phones back and we say, call your mom, tell her you're okay, tell her you had a great time, and tell your mom you love her, and then 15 minutes. And that has been a monumental change for a lot of our students just because they get to focus on God all week rather than being texting and tweeting and all that kind of stuff. So there's no phones happening during the week at all except for that little 15-minute slice of time at the end of the night. Any questions about that? One more thing, my contact information, I don't think is actually, yeah, it is. Okay, so on page 4, number 13, my cell phone number's there and Shalene's cell phone number's there. So if there's like some kind of emergency where you need to tell your kid something or whatever, you can call us. We'll have our cell phones all day long. So that's the story on that. Please bring a beach towel. Please, just because every year someone forgets and then they're always borrowing other people's towels. Sunscreen, please. Flip-flops, water bottles, like refillable water bottles, just, all that kind of stuff. We'll have water for them. Don't bring tight clothing. Don't bring spaghetti strap halter tops, bikini, all that kind of stuff. Tobacco, drugs, meth, any of those things. They'll provide that at the camp. So, for those of you that don't know me very well, that's a joke. Okay, so the frequently asked questions, lots of it is just self-explanatory. Just quick reminder, on free time, we don't let the students roam free like by themselves. They're always in the presence of an adult. So during free time, what our adults realize is that they are getting this really sweet trip on the beach, and it's awesome and it's fun, but they're working, and so they don't get to stay up and take a nap during free. Not that maybe they want to. I don't know. But if students want to take a nap, there has to be an adult there, and so we work that out. Does that make sense? They never are allowed to walk down the shopping areas by themselves. We organize all that. There's always an adult present. There is never a point where we're just like, yeah, go do whatever you want. Even in the water, we have adults just in the general area, and we're watching. They don't go out too far, any of that kind of stuff. The place that we're staying is called Plaza Resort and Spa. It's going to sleep 4 to 5 people, and so each one of those rooms is going to get a leader as well. Again, not going to be any rooms without leaders. We have some trusted college students that have been to our beach camps and have been in leadership process with us and will be going through training with us, and those will be considered leaders. And so we will have, some of us will be adults, some of us will be college students, and typically our college students that are leaders have been going the last couple years. In fact, I want to say the youngest college leader that's going is Scott, who's our intern in the back. We call him Red Lightning because he's got red hair, so you can feel free to do that as well. But he is our intern, and he will be going with us. So we're excited about that. Okay, so meals. Last year, the camp provided the meals. This year, we're providing them just because that's the way this camp is doing it. And so we've got some like crock pot meals and stuff. There's not a full kitchen. That's the only problem. So we've got some crock pot meals we're going to put together, sandwiches, things like that. We're going to do breakfast, all that stuff all on our own. And like I said, one restaurant meal. That'll be Thursday night, the last night. And then we'll take a big picture together and all that kind of stuff. But we will be providing our own meals. If there are dietary stuff that like you need to, please let us know, maybe on your consent form or, closer to time. Just say, don't forget, my child's going to blow up if he gets like shrimp or something. So just please, please, please let us know. If there's medication that needs to be taken, we prefer to have that happen in the presence of an adult as well. We just students do funny things. And so if there's medication needs, like every day I need my kid to take medicine at a certain time and all this kind of stuff, we've had kids decide not to take their medicine because they just don't feel like it. So we need you parents to tell us what to do with medication, and then we would prefer to help administrate that in the sense of like, we're just not going to let them walk around with their medicine all by themselves. Does that make sense? If there's any questions about that, that's probably a personal matter. You can just call me. So let me know. My cell phone number's on the list. Keeping up with us, because I said, we're not going to do a whole lot of phone time. If you're on Twitter or Facebook, my stuff is all on page 4 there. I will be tweeting updates and things like that, and so that's a good place to kind of keep up with us. Okay, so page 5, important times. This is kind of like this is how it's going to work. So we had an awkward number of students this year, by the way. We had enough for 1 charter bus, but not enough for 2. But we've got more than 1 charter bus. So here's how we're going to work this out. We've got exactly 71 people going, that's students and leaders. And so we're going to fit 56 on a bus, on a 56-passenger bus. So do the math. You can't sit by yourself. So it's going to be a very, very full bus. Oh, by the way, those of you who went last year and you were on one of those hot buses, we got some bad buses that lost their AC on the way there, and then they fixed them, and then they sent us back, and they broke again. And so we were on extremely hot buses. We're not going with that company anymore. So here's what's really cool about that. We went with another company, and they gave us a discount, and they were already $2,000 cheaper. So we're going with a different company this year. They'll have Wi-Fi this year, so your kids won't kill their data plans. Ooh, parents just got so excited. Did you see that? Golly, that was awesome. So we will have 1 charter bus. The times, this is going to get kind of complicated, but we'll work this out as it gets closer to time. We've got 56 spots reserved for the charter bus, and then the rest of the 15 are going to go on our big, nice, it's not a 15-passenger van per se, it's like a big people mover where they're in really comfy seats and all this kind of stuff. I and someone else am going to drive that. Now, before you freak out, that's a long time. We've been given permission by Don, our associate pastor, to break it up and go ahead and get hotel rooms. So the 15-passenger will leave probably early Sunday morning, and we'll get 10 or 11 hours down the road, stop at a hotel room, and then we will wake up the next morning, and we will meet the rest of the group. Not the way I preferred to do it, but we would be wasting money if we got another charter bus and spread the kids out where they had all these empty seats. We just don't have money to do that. So if you have any concerns about that, like I said, my cell phone number is there. I am a long space driver myself. We've got family 15 hours away. And so we've got some experience that way. We'll be switching drivers back and forth. We're going to break the trip up. We're going to get your kid in a hotel room. And so now you may be asking yourself, who gets to go on which? There was just a proposition over here that the seniors and the juniors get to kind of pick which one they want. And there's already been a disagreement. One wants the charter bus, one wants the van. So as you might expect, high school girls didn't come to an agreement necessarily yet. We're going to figure that out. My first proposition was going to be, and my guess yours might be, is first come, first serve. My kid paid early, before the deadline. Shouldn't they get a spot on that was my guess. And so the way it's working so far is that the people that will land on that 15-passenger are the ones who signed up latest. Does that make sense? The ones who signed up first should get their spot on the charter bus. Any questions about that? I know it's kind of weird. This is the first time we've ever had to do that. Yes? Yeah, because we would be, the charter bus, what they'll do is they'll have 2 drivers per bus. They'll park one of the drivers like down the road, I don't know, I think Tupelo is one of the spots we usually, but they switch off. So they'll have a driver down the road in a hotel sleeping, and then we'll pull up. That driver will wake up, take over, because the bus drivers don't sleep for long. So they don't drive for longer than 10 consecutive hours at a time. That's just their rules. So Daytona Beach being a bit longer than 10 hours, they'll have someone ready who's well rested, and so the charter bus won't stop. We will need to, just because, well, we don't want you guys worried about your kids. So we'll get a good rest in a hotel, and we'll just break the trip up. Which means that the 15-passenger crew will get back later. So we'll have to figure the timing out on that. If you're like some of you are on like vacation schedules, just let me know about that. Because if some of you, like, let's say your kids signed up in the last 15 people, and we'll publish that list here in a little bit. We'll say these people, and they're like, well, we can't get back late because we're leaving for vacation. The moment you guys get back, we'll work out that detail somehow. Question? Yes. 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 Your basic schedule is right there on page 5. There are 2 worship services a day, one in the morning, one at night. Like I said, we'll do all our meals, and then we'll have free time at the beach from 1 to 5. Yeah. Sooner than later, we're going to get all those names together. What I'm going to do is basically just personally contact that last 15 on the list and just say, hey, how do you feel about this? And if everyone's a go, then we'll just go with that probably. That's my guess. Rather than calling the whole group and seeing, which way do you guys want to do it? Just going to try to do that first come, first serve deal. Any other questions? Yeah.
We can still do the 3-finger tank-tops, right?
Yeah. Yep. Any more questions? Yeah.
Do you have a route available yet, like how we're going down there?
The bus company, I can call them. We were looking at it. The bus company typically takes that southern route, and so they'll end up in Mobile. You're fine. I blame Shalene. We found that the northern route actually is more like just highways, and takes the exact same amount of time. It's a little bit longer on mileage, but we won't be, that southern route, you're going through all these country roads and all that kind of stuff, and I would prefer to avoid that personally. And so I'm looking at, it almost looks like your route through Atlanta, if I remember correctly, which seems way out of the way, but you're coming down this way and going, or you're just coming up north. And so right now, that looks like the way to go for us, and it would provide a good kind of braking spot down there. So, any questions about that? We do have a smaller group this year, which is, due to all kinds of reasons, maybe cost being one. And we've said, by the way, this is probably going to be, this is not my decision to make, but this is probably going to be the last beach camp trip that this church or youth ministry goes on, just because it's so expensive. You guys are like, I know, right? Why are you? Yeah, and so next year, this is probably going to be the last beach camp trip that this youth ministry goes on. Again, not my decision to make, because my family and I are going to be planning a church in Columbus, Ohio in September. And so this is going to actually be my very, very last event to go on. And so, I know, right? And so this is going to be the last event. Because we're a little bit smaller, it allows us to focus a little bit better. It's always fun to have more people go, but with more people comes with more details and all that kind of stuff. So it is kind of relaxing a little bit to us to be able to go. We haven't had these numbers since like 2010. And so we've grown every year, and this is just a little bit smaller group, and so we'll be able to actually be a little more intimate this year than we have been the last couple years, so that's cool. So that's the packet. Are there any questions, or the magician behind the curtain over there, Shalene Phillips, may have something that I've forgotten She is why this youth ministry is still together after me leading it for 7 years. And so you need to just go pat her on the back. I'm serious. Because I tried as hard as I could to ruin it, and she just... I'm not forgetting this. Any questions? That's pretty much it. Plaza Resort and Spa. Plaza Resort and Spa. Huh? What? Yeah, I got them. I'm just going to hold them out like this so I don't forget. And they are, I think, that between, so the place that we're meeting at is actually the same place that we met at in 2010 and 2012 with Big Stuff. And so the arena will look very familiar to us that have been. We're about a half mile away, and so we're going to get the buses to go ahead and get us back and forth between those. But we are Daytona Beach, the same area that we went to with Big Stuff back when like Andy Stanley and Francis Chan spoke, and then Judah Smith and Andy Stanley a couple years ago. So if there's not any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys pick who you want to room with. And that's awesome. See how quick that went? That was great. You guys are the best. All right.